That was a fun 5 minutes before we went on the air, having some technical fun. So welcome into it is U.S. Open week. We've got a full group tonight. The panel is loaded up. Guru's got the model out early, and it's beefy. I'm just gonna say beefy. I'm looking forward to this show. How you guys doing, man? What's up, Drew?
Hey, I'm good, man. U.S. Open week, my second favorite major of the year. It's going to be fun. Nobody dislikes Torrey Pines, and Farmers Insurance Torrey Pines and U.S. Open Torrey Pines. They're a different
Two
animal.
different courses, aren't they?
Oh, yes, sir, it is. It's going to be fun. It's going to be penal to miss fairways, and from what I've heard, the cabbage around the greens is thick.
It's growing.
So it will be fun. Yeah. Thick and growing. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this week, man. I really am.
Justin, welcome back.
Yes, sir. Good to be back. Looking at that rough, that's going to be an adventure. I feel for them, but it's going to be fun to watch for sure.
I can't wait to see some of these guys pull out their rakes and try to hack out of that thing.
It'd be like Morikawa swinging and missing a couple weeks ago.
Hey, don't you be talking about Colin Morikawa. Guru, how you doing, man?
I appreciate the little delay there. You know, I wasn't sufficiently excited to come on the air, so now I'm pretty pumped. I needed the extra 5 minutes. I mean, it's major week, but I needed to take it from a 10 to an 11. So I think I'm approaching that 11. So I have to say, thanks for the break. But no, I'm locked. I'm loaded. I'm ready to go. I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, major week. I mean, summer's always a good time in golf. Lots of good tourneys coming up. But this is one I had circled on the calendar, and ready to get after it.
Well, let's get after it, man. Why don't you talk about the course a little bit there? What's going on with Torrey Pines? I want to hear a little bit from you and from Drew and Justin on this course.
Well, anytime you bring in the Open doctor to do some renovations, it's going to be a good time. So, dropping it from a 72 to a 71, taking that par 5 on the front and dropping it to a par 4, that's going to make it interesting. I mean, I know they've got it down to 7,600 and some change on paper, but I think they said it was going to play between 72 and 74, so they can play around with it. But move some tees, move some sand. I mean, it's going to be interesting there. But I think the thing that caught my eye the most with the tourney fact sheet for the week was that they listed the rough as 3 to 5 inches. Most of the time when I've looked back, you see the shorter places will have the 1 or the 2, or you've got the 3. I mean, last year when Memorial kicked everybody's butt, it was still only a 3. A couple weeks ago it was a 4, but now they've got this at 3 to 5. So the 4 is the highest I remember seeing in the last handful of tourneys. So the fact they even got some spots at 5, it's gonna be a delicious salad for somebody, and here's hoping that you can whack your way out of it or just avoid it altogether. But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this is definitely a different animal this time of year than January for sure. And you're not going to have the overseed like they've got in the winter, so things are going to play more natural and true to form. And I guess we'll just see who brings their A game. But usually in these majors, the cream rises to the top. So, pick your poison, and hopefully your favorite guy does what he's supposed to do.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Hey, Drew, what are you thinking?
No, lots of what he said, to be honest with you. The cream does rise to the top in the U.S. Open, especially at this golf course. This is a great venue for this kind of tournament. Again, it's kind of, we talked about this a little bit at Kiowa, to where they've had the ability to kind of play with the tee boxes and make the golf course kind of what they want based off wind and in different conditions. So that's going to be exciting. But yeah, the fact is the rough's going to be thick. It puts a premium on hitting the fairway. But to Nick's point as well, it could still play 7,500 yards as a par 71, so that can still be a big boy golf course, especially on the ocean, knowing you could potentially have some wind. But again, when I'm sitting here looking at this golf tournament, it's just the U.S. Open has that it factor to it, to where you're going to see some of the better players. You typically see a damn good player win this golf tournament, just because it's a grueling 4 days. I mean, let's be honest. There's going to be times where guys are going to have to hack out sideways, just the way it is. But from what I've heard, the rough is kind of spotty. So there may be potential where, wherever you end up, guys have said they would prefer to play out of the fairway bunkers than the rough because it's way more predictable as far as what you can do with the trajectory of the golf ball and the spin of the golf ball and whatnot. So it's going to, as much as you need length here, you need to be able to put the ball in play, and that narrows the margin of players somewhat significantly when we're talking about who has the pedigree to win this golf tournament. And just because you haven't won a major championship, I'm not saying you don't have the pedigree, but when we look at people tonight, it's like, who is that guy that could actually get this done? And the list may be significantly smaller than weeks before or tournaments before. It's just the way this tournament works.
So many storylines this week. It's unbelievable. Just with all the top guys, like you were saying, you got to expect one of them to rise to the top. But man, there's just so many different ways it could go this week. And with the course being able to be manipulated and changed, kind of like you mentioned, it's not even, it plays like a totally different tournament. Compared to the Farmers earlier in the year.
If they want to get cute, they can actually change the course 4 times.
Yeah.
And so I find that interesting. Well, one of the things I was talking about on the show last night, and that is, do you guys see a limit to how many people you think could actually win this tournament? Because, all of you guys are saying, hey, look, you got to be grueling. It's got to be 4 days. You got to be on to win a U.S. Open the way they structured, obviously. What is in your mind? We'll go around real quickly and we'll get to the picks. Legitimately, how many players have a chance to win this tournament? Guru? If you had to pick one player pool, a total, you got to pick 15, 20, 30 players?
Yeah, probably 20. I think anybody could reach up there and fire one round, but great example. And I know it's 2 totally different tourneys, but, like you look back at last week, Chesson Hadley looked pretty good for 3 rounds, and then he just, blew up on Sunday. I think anybody could come out.
It's hard.
To do it 4 rounds is tough. So, you could see somebody fire a great round, but to grind it out, for, 72 holes is tough. So, yeah, I think you're going to need somebody that can go low, but you're going to need somebody that, can grind it out, and then maybe somebody that's got a pedigree of doing it on some tougher courses and things like that. So, yeah, I think 20 is probably a good number.
I would tend to agree. It's going to be. I wouldn't go much farther than that. Like, obviously, a guy could come out of nowhere, but it's pretty narrow. I think I'd say 20, 25.
Pro, what do you think?
I'm not far off these guys. I could see 20 to 25 potential players, but again, to Nick's, it's not just every single round, every single shot wears you out. And there's guys that know how to win golf tournaments. There's guys that don't. There's guys that when bogeys and doubles are happening, which things that happen in a U.S. Open, especially with the unpredictability of the rough, there's guys that can sit back and be calm and get through spells like that. And there's guys that shit the bed and just waiting to hijack an airplane back home on Friday night. It's that simple. It really is. You will see guys that fight their way back to what we deem the cut line at one point in this golf tournament. And this cut line is extremely important because the lead's not going to get that far away from the cut line. When we're talking about a U.S. Open, it's you are around for the weekend. You're more than likely going to, with a round in the mid 60s, you're going to get yourself right back into it. So there's specific players that I think automatically shoot themselves in the foot when we're heading into the tournament, where when things go south, they're out.
Yeah. I just, for fun, last night, I went through the Guru's model, and then I went through my model, and I just started looking really closely and trying to figure it out. And I came up with 27 players that I think can legitimately win this thing. And that's where I landed. And so it's like, for me, when you can eliminate that many players from your pool, it really helps you fine tune and dial in what you really, if you believe in what the model tells you, then you can really put a lot of lineups together that you like with a smaller pool. And so that's kind of, I will say this, last week I told everybody I was going to take Guru's top 30. I manipulated it by 1. I added one player that I liked that wasn't in his top 30. And although I didn't have a great week because last week just sucked for everybody, I still won 30% of 30% of my lineups with that formula that Guru had. My formula from Guru's lineup cashed. And so it wasn't a huge wins, but I had 30 lineups cash out of 100. But still, I loved it because it showed me that that model does work, and so I was pretty happy with that. And I'm probably going to take that approach again, but I'm going to have it with probably 25 to 28 players. And so anyway, that being said, let's get into it, man. You guys ready to start some plays and fades for these DraftKings folks?
Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to start with you, Justin. Let's go 10Ks. Give me 3 and 1.
All right. Going off kind of what we just said, I'm gonna go with a guy that I don't think has the big number in him. I think he's going to be consistent, and John Rahm. He's officially COVID free, and
let me ask you about that. So he got tested for COVID. Did he not get any symptoms? Was that a false negative? Because typically, if you get sick, you're usually down for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's different for everybody, but you know, I haven't heard any reports of any symptoms or anything like that for him.
Yeah, the PGA Tour, if you go in a 10-day span with 2 negative tests, then you're cleared. The problem would have been if he would have actually continued to test positive, it would have been a 14-day span from the first positive, which would have put him tomorrow at the U.S. Open. So he would have been showing up the property tomorrow, which would have been, I don't want to say a huge deal because he's won in this golf course, but somewhat a big deal. You want to be able to see the property.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, so you got Rahm, number 1 in the model.
I got Rahm. Yeah, I mean, easy choice. I also got Jordan. The guy's been the best player in the world, arguably, over the last 6 months. Can't think of any reason not to play him. So I'll since he won at Valero, he's got 3 top 10s and 5 starts. I mean, you know, give me Jordan, and
all right.
I'm sure the pro will piggyback there. I'll count on that.
I've already wrote it down.
And so I've been really struggling with the third play. I've switched it a couple times, but I'm actually going to play Bryson. I'm going to play Bryson. I think he's going to have – I'm almost transitioning to Team Bryson a little bit with Brooks, kind of aggravating me.
He's in the transition period. He's gone from Brooks to Bryson.
Yeah, I think I am. I think he's going to have the chip on his shoulder a little bit this week. Despite
are you setting up a Brooks fade right now? Is that what's coming up here? I feel like the transition.
I am fading Brooks. You know, I think it's kind of funny that Brooks gets a pass for missing the cut last week, and people are hassling DJ for just making top 10. I mean, Brooks missed the cut. He's been terrible the last few times he's played. Rolling right into that, I am fading Brooks. You know, he'll probably come out and win this week and just make me look foolish. But
it's my fades that make me look foolish, man. I think you're safe. You need to watch out for my fades, otherwise you're good.
Hey, somebody's fades are going to look foolish.
We can't ask for a better segue teaser than that, Guru. Let's go, man.
Yeah.
Oh God. All right. So I'm going to kind of tiptoe into the model a little bit too. So forgive me here, and just because I did some different stuff here and it seems like an interesting segue to use some of it. So I'm going to play Rahm. I'll start there. He's one of the better favorites that the model's had in a while, and he checks a lot of boxes. I mean, just walking through it. I mean, you know, he's got 4 top 10s in his last 5 trips to Torrey. He's got 4 top 10s in his last 7, and that doesn't even count the Memorial, whatever you want to call that. Like, that was pretty dominant. He's got now. The other thing I looked at as far as the model goes, I tried to balance more towards, well, with the odds, I kind of added in, I'm going to call it like a big game hunter component. So I factored in some good movie. I factored in some majors, but I factored in some tourneys with some higher strength of field ratings a little bit too. With the comps, I kind of looked at some courses, designer courses, you know, by designer to kind of factor them into, looked at some other US Opens, and I looked at some courses that I thought kind of lined up pretty well. as far as the stats component, I looked at, you've got most everybody tells you that you need to have some sort of success on the West Coast POA. So I baked in some West Coast POA courses and then some courses that I thought had similar green components into the Model 2. I went 36 rounds on the tee to green, but I baked it a little heavier with the approach. As far as the other stats, normal stuff. I looked at some scrambling. I mean, I looked at, the proximity. I looked at the longer par fours. I mean, the sand saves, the normal stuff we normally hit. I mean, the weights just depend on the weekend and the actual course, but that's still in there. The form itself, I went back 3 levels like normal, but I went back to the Masters. I went back to the Farmers, and then I went all the way back to the start of the season at the Safeway for the long-term component. I didn't bake the course history in as much, but I still counted it in there and basically spit it all together, and you see what came out with the model. So Rahm's got 8 top 15s in his last 10 majors, which is pretty dominant. He's, one of those big game hunters, if you will. And then going back for the strokes gained, I went back as far as the concession because I thought it was a pretty good break in between the Farmers and the Masters. So that's about 30 rounds for him. So he's second off the tee, 24th in approach, 37th around the green, and 37th in putting. It just checks out. He should win. Don't know if he will. I think he'll show up pretty well, but I'm willing to take a flyer on him. I shouldn't say a flyer. That's the wrong word. I think you have to use him. You'd have to make a pretty damn good case not to use him because he checks so many boxes. Like I'd want to know. I'd want some of the drugs you're on if you weren't going to use him. Now, if you choose not to use him because of salary or for some sort of DraftKings thing, I get it.
Ownership.
But, yeah, that. I mean, fine. But other than that, I mean, I'd love to listen to the argument for not using him. So that's number one. So I'm going to play DJ. I didn't think I was at the beginning, but, like Justin, I struggled with the 5 guys over 10K. I went back and forth a handful of times, crossed on and off a bunch of different people, but I ended up with DJ number 2. I like the Rose pairing with Rory. I think that's actually pretty good, and I think, I wouldn't be shocked at all if all 3 of them, did pretty well. In terms of the field itself, he's got more wins on POA and POA/Bent than anybody else in the field. So, I mean, as far as the PGA side, so, I mean, that's a feather in his cap. I mean, he's got 10 top 10s in his last 20 majors. So, again, he qualifies as a big game hunter. I mean, he's going to show up. He's got 5 top 6s in his last 10 U.S. Opens. So, I mean, of the majors, I think this is one of the ones he likes. So, I think he, tends to thrive on the harder courses. He's got 5 top 50s in his last 9 trips to Torrey. And then he's got 3 top 30s in his last 6 starts. And then since the concession for him, that's 28 rounds. He's 21st off the tee. The rest of the game isn't really great, but I'd like to think maybe he's just peaking up to where he needs to be. So I've got 65th in approach, 60th around the green, and 60th with the putter. So that's 2. So I could get there okay. The hardest part for me, like Justin, was coming up with the 3rd. So I'm actually going to play Brooks, and I'm not normally a Brooks play guy, but I'm going to play Brooks. When I started the whole exercise, I was like, Brooks can't play on the West Coast, and I'm still not entirely convinced he can play, but I'm gonna chance it. I'm gonna chance it because of the last 18 majors, he's got 14 top 13s or better. That's pretty damn elite compared to everybody else when I went through the whole, gauntlet of things to look at. He's got 4 top 5s in his last 7 U.S. Opens. He got second at the PGA. He just seems to not, for lack of a nicer way to say, he seems to not give a shit, and then he just gives a shit and he shows up pretty well. So I'm gonna run with that. I like the fact that he's playing with JT, and I like the fact that he's playing with JT and Morikawa. I think it's more of a put up or shut up, and I don't think he's going to let the 2 of them get away from him, or they're all 3 going to suck. We'll find out, but I assume all 3 of them are going to do relatively well. So his strokes gained since the concession only turned out to be 14 rounds, but he's still 8th off the tee, 8th in approach, and 54th around the green. The big question for me is, can he putt on POA, or will he putt enough on POA to make it count? I think he can, and I think he will. So then it comes down to, what do I do with the fade? Do I fade Bryson or do I fade Spieth? I'm going to fade Bryson because I guess I'm team
Brooks. Let's go.
So you look at his last 16 majors. So 14 of them have been top 25 or worse. Not saying he can't show up, not saying he won't show up, but I know he won the U.S. Open last year, but he won. Maybe he wouldn't have won if Brooks actually been there. I mean, hey, it's a weak argument, but I'm going to go with it because it helps make my case slightly. 3 of the 6 U.S. Opens that he's played in, he got 35th, and he missed the cut in 2 of them. I mean, that's something to take a look at. And then I know he hasn't played in a while, and you've got beefy Bryson versus skinny nerdy Bryson, but the 2 times he's played before, he missed the cut.
He's still nerdy as hell.
It's about the only real things I could dive into. I mean, the strokes game kind of check out, and it matches up pretty well, with Spieth. But I can find more of a case to fade Bryson than I can Spieth. So yeah, so I'm going to play Brooks. I'm going to play DJ. I'm going to play Rahm, and I'm going to fade Bryson.
Wow, interesting stuff. I'm ready for pro here, man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're talking about 5 players that you can make a case for, whether you want to fade them or not. If we're fading them, we're going to come up with some shit that makes them sound bad, but we know they could easily go on a win. I'm going to start out with John Rahm. To your guys' point, there's not much more I need to say. His first win was here. He knows the golf course. What he was doing at Memorial was just destroying the field. Nothing else needs to be said. I'm actually going to go with Bryson. To me, this feels a lot like the U.S. Open he won. It's going to be a bomb and gouge for Bryson. It's hard for me to not bet Bryson because I feel like I'm losing out on that and getting on the Bryson wagon, and I really do feel like he can win this week. And then my third pick is going to be Brooks Koepka. And here's the deal. I don't give a damn. Okay? I know. Yeah, exactly. I understand that Jordan Spieth was supposed to be my pick there at number 3, but here's the deal. I don't give a damn what stat you tell me about. There's no stat that is going to make me ever bet against Brooks Koepka in another major championship. I was off the wagon at the PGA. I thought, oh my gosh, this guy can't even bend down. And we saw what happened. He didn't win. I will not ever – I will never not bet Brooks Koepka when we sit here at major championships on the show. That I'm not going to do it. My fade is going to be Dustin Johnson. And here's the deal. It's a hard fade, but I don't like his excuse me. I don't like his record around this track. It hasn't really been great. And we can throw any statistic at it. Of course, DJ looked good last week outside of a couple just blow-up holes. I mean, dude hit he had 8-iron in and made like a trip piece, and that's just a different story for a different day. But of course, Dustin Johnson can certainly win this golf tournament. The one thing I did like that I saw with him last week was the way he was hitting his driver. However, I'm going to fade him. I'm not going to play Spieth. I'm not going to fade Spieth. Maybe this is like the way for Spieth to win, and I'm all about that if that's the case.
All right. So wait a minute. So who's you got Bryson, Brooks, and Rahm?
Yep.
Okay, because I gotta write a line through Spieth's name. I'm all shook here. I'm a little
Listen,
broke up here.
If I don't, I can't be transparent and honest if I don't think Spieth's the best of the 4 in my opinion. So I'm gonna not play him, and I'm not gonna fade him. Although my love is Spieth.
Okay. All right. I like it. That's actually pretty cool. I am gonna play Spieth.
Let's roll, baby.
I like him a lot this week, and I just I mean, good grief. I mean, the guy, in this field, he's top 5 around the greens, and you need to be around the greens, and he's top 10 in putting right now in the last 36 rounds. He's right there in all these stats. The only stat that worries me is his 200 plus proximity statistic, which is 105. But Jordan Spieth, yeah, I'll take him, and then I am going to take Rahm. So Rahm will be a consensus play for the 4 of us. He's been taken by all 4 of us, and he's chalk, and he should be. Guru obviously laid out a perfect argument for why he should be, and I don't think anybody's got the ability or capability to play the counterpoint on that one. I mean, besides COVID, look what he was doing 2 weeks ago was absolutely stunning. Now, can he do that again? I don't know, but I don't know if he has to. He was on a blistering pace to destroy the field by double digits. And so I don't know if we'll see that again, but you know what? I definitely feel like he may have found something. He was always still pretty good. but he found something, and it was clicking all in. And I don't think he's gonna. I think he's gonna pick up where he left off. And so I just don't want. I just wish he was better than 10 on the number. So
Yeah.
so I'm going with Rom. I'm going with Spieth, and my third guy I'm going with is DJ. I saw something last week.
Wait a damn second. You were Mr. Brooks Koepka until the day you died a month and a half ago. You would have slaughtered somebody else to Brooks Koepka would have always been your ally. What the hell is going on here?
I just think the whole thing with him and Bryson is becoming ridiculous, and I think they've become a sideshow. And I think they're thinking, what's that?
I said I don't disagree with that.
And I think they each got a social media team, and I just don't think the focus is where it needs to be. And I think they're both going to be watching the scoreboard for each other. I think there's something going on that's deeper than just golf, and so I'm just kind of pushing him out. I love him. I'm not fading him. Put it that way. He's not my fade. But DJ, I saw something last week that I really liked, and he's got what it takes. He's number 2 in his field in driving distance last 36 rounds. He's 4th in approach, 16th in par 5s. He's 5th in proximity at 200 at 200 yards plus. 16th. 30 and around the greens, 32nd in scrambling. All the things I like, he's right there. I got to go with DJ, and my fade is Bryson. I just have a feeling that I just think he's. This is going to come out really bad. I just think he's a little mentally weak. I think he lets shit get to him, and he gets frustrated. And when they all start calling Brooksy, he has a fit. He's more worried about those people being escorted off the course, and that shows that it affects him. And then when he's interviewed, I just think right now he's mentally in a messed up place, and I don't think he can just grip it, rip it, and putt it. I just think he's going to be in the rough. I think he's going to struggle a little bit. And when I look at the numbers, Bryson, he's 104th in that proximity category at 200 plus in this field, and he's 54th around the greens. So you know what? I'm going to fade. I have to fade him. Obviously, he could go out there and win the damn thing. He won it last year, but I had to fade somebody, and it was going to be him. It wasn't going to be Brooks, and so it almost had to be him. It did, and so that's who it is. That was fun. So we do have one consensus. We got John Rahm as our consensus. Well, we're gonna have fun pulling up all these. 9K was there were some surprises in 9K. There's guys that normally are in the 10K range that are in the 9K range, and so I like the 9K range a lot this week. And I'm sure you guys. I think you guys probably do too. But let's go ahead and start with you, Pro.
Yeah, so I'll start with Patrick Reed. He's at the bottom of 9K. We're going to start with him. Guy that plays great on tough golf courses. His form recently has not been bad. He's got 3 top 10s in his last 6 events. He's 3rd in the field in strokes gained total. He putts well on POA. And sit here and tell me right now, if any of you can tell me a guy that you feel fits the U.S. Open better than a player like Patrick Reed. If there's one that you think, I just think Patrick Reed is the U.S. Open. And I certainly think that he can get it done this week. I'm going to go with Vic Hovland. I don't even need to bullshit or say anything, to be honest with you. Vic Hovland is chalk for me anytime I see him playing. I think this could certainly be a breakthrough week. Do I think he's one of those 20 to 25 players? Damn right I do. Yeah. I really do. What's the guy do bad? The guy finds fairways, the guy finds greens. He hits the ball plenty far enough. It's what he does around the greens. But if he hits enough greens in regulation, I love Victor Hovland. And then I can't bet against Colin Morikawa in a field like this. And the reason is because, again, we talked about it to nauseum. He's the best player tee to green there is. He's got 4 consecutive top 15s in his last 4 starts, of course. And then the playoff loss to Patrick Cantlay. But a guy like Colin Morikawa moves the ball plenty far enough. He's hitting fairways, and anytime you're giving a player like that with his ball striking ability into the greens around here, and of course, yes, you want to give me the putting, and I get it. And this is a U.S. Open. His putting hasn't been great. Listen, he worked with Marco O'Mara. They went to this claw style, soft type grip, and it paid immediate dividends for him. However, it hasn't been as great or as consistent lately, and that's certainly a concern. But again, a guy like him at a U.S. Open, I feel like this guy is going to win a U.S. Open based off the way his game is. My fate's going to be Justin Thomas, which is very uncomfortable for a lot of people and very uncommon from what I've seen. It's really come down to the putter with Justin Thomas this year. He almost lost 9 strokes. It was 8.5 at Memorial or 8 putting. That's just not going to get it done. I know he's been working hard on it. You can talk about ball strikers, which I just mentioned. And I just said Morikawa. Hey, listen, this is contradictory for what I just said. Hey, Morikawa struggles with the putter, but he's a great ball striker. Justin Thomas is a great ball striker, but he struggles with the putter. For me, it's Justin Thomas is kind of been up and down and rocky. He's been fighting to just stay in rounds like he did last week. I mean, it's he's been
fighting to make cuts.
He is, and he's just trying to stay in rounds right now. Or I think Colin Morikawa. When I see Justin Thomas, I think that he can put a round up where it makes a really long day and a struggle, where I think Colin Morikawa can make things a little bit easier on himself.
Lately, for sure.
What about you, Justin?
Piggybacking on the JT thing a little bit, I think looking back, if say he doesn't win the Players Championship, look at what he looks like. I mean, that more and more of that week looks like it was out of nowhere, kind of, which is strange for him because he's been so unbelievably good. So, long story short, my fate is also JT. I'll give you that for pretty much what exactly.
Come home, baby. Come home.
I'm gonna play Patrick Reed too. He's at the bottom of the price range. He led the field in scrambling and par 3 scoring at Memorial. He's gonna play well this week. He plays hard golf courses. You know, that's what he does. And kind of like you were saying, you know, the U.S. Open is always an extremely hard golf course. He's going to come ready to play. And at the bottom of the price point, that's an easy call for me. And then I'm going to play Victor Hovland. Like I said, 92. He's near the bottom of the price point. You know, not much needs to be said. I think Hovland can win. He's going to be – I'll bet on him. He's going to be in my lineups. So I'm going to have Reed. I'm going to have Hovland. And who is my – and I'm going to fade JT. So I need my third, right? Did I already give you my third?
Nope, you did not, sir.
All right. So I'm going to play Rory with my third.
I respect that.
Yep. He fits what we're looking for on this course. And, you know, R71 Wells Fargo, he just went out and won it. I'll take a rare shot at Rory this week and see if I live to tell about it.
When you're not here next week, we'll know why.
Yep, you'll know.
That leaves it to you, Guru. Or you want me to go and you want to wrap up this category?
I don't care. Whatever floats your boat, boss man.
All right, I'll jump in. I'll let you finish the category.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Rory McIlroy. I just you know, he finished number 2 in my model, and so he's in the 9K range. I always bitched about him being in the 10K range, so why I faded him. He's in the 9K range now, and now he's a play.
Yep.
And so, you know, he's number 2 in his field, 36 rounds around the greens at my weight ratios. He's number 3 in par 5 scoring, strokes gain. He's number 3 in driving distance, strokes gain. He's 15th in approach, 21st in scrambling. 33rd in putting, and I like what I've seen lately, and so, you know, sub 10K, I'll take some Rory, and so I'm there. I'm also going to go with my boy Victor Hovland, and we all kind of could have expected that one, I guess, right? number 1 in approach in this field, number 2 in proximity for 200 yards, 13th in par 5 scoring, and 36th in driving distance, which is very respectable. The only thing that bugs me right now is his around the greens. His around the greens isn't great, guys, and if he is in the rough, that could be the only problem in his game. He's 103rd in this field, and so it was a real washy-washy. Do I just not play him? I don't fade. I'm never going to fade the guy, but I went ahead and played him because I think that he can hit the greens, and I think he can hit fairways, and so I'm on him. And my third guy is going to be Xander Schauffele at 9.3. I just really like Xander's game, all around. Third in approach. He's inside the top 20 in proximity, driving distance, putting, top 25 in par 5 scoring. He's not bad in any category. His worst category is sand saves at 55th ranked, and so top 5 in my model. So I got to play him in the 9K range. And my fade is going to be a guy that's actually played really well his last time out, and that's Patrick Cantlay. I just haven't seen him play 2 great tournaments in a row in a long time. And so I just, for a guy in the 9Ks, I didn't want to fade Reed. I didn't want to fade some of the other guys I really like. So I'm fading Patrick Cantlay. I didn't have the heart to fade Justin Thomas. That probably should be my fade, honestly, based on your guys' arguments. He probably should be my fade. But I went with Cantlay, and it'll probably come back and bite me. Oh, by the way, I want to congratulate Drew Pro for picking Higo last week.
Yeah.
Good job on that, man.
Garrett.
I faded him, and he wins the damn thing.
That's how this works, man. That's how this. Anytime we do this, one of us is going to look like an asshole every single week. And that's the beauty of it, I guess. Right?
Yeah, I love it. I just want to give credit where credit's due.
I appreciate that, man.
So that brings us to Guru. I can't wait to hear what he's got in 9K.
Yeah. So lesson here is bet the fades. Bet them all, and you're likely to hit one. So all right. So when the model got cooked together, so there were 5 guys, and I again kind of shows the top heavy side of the strength of the field, but there were 5 guys that were in the top 20% of everything across the board. So Rahm was 1, and Xander Schauffele was 2 of the 5. So I'm going to start my 9K with Xander. And I think it's the fact they're 1-2 in the model. I mean, they make a lot of sense. Rahm and Xander fit the trends. Xander's got the age, he's due. I mean, you can make all kinds of, secondary arguments, but you'd asked, I think last week, maybe week before, who we were leaning towards. And I think I said Rahm, and I think I said if it wasn't Rahm, it'd be Xander. And I thought it was kind of ironic that at the end of the model build, that's exactly how it ended up. He's got 5 top 20s last 6 starts. He's got 11 top 20s in the last 16 majors. He's got 4 top 6s in the only 4 U.S. Opens he's played. He got second at the Farmers in 2021. So I think he can, get his way around the course. He's from San Diego. I like the Homa pairing with Phil. I think that's going to help and not hurt him. As far as the comps go, he was number 2 as far as the primary comps go. He was number 8 as far as the sort of one-off, PGA U.S. Open comps I used. He was the number 4 big game hunter as far as the odds go. I think he's going to show up. His last 24 rounds, I had him at 38 off the tee, 25th in approach, and 48th with the putter. And so his around the green gate's a little short, but I think he knows the course. I think he can make up for it. And I don't really care if it's 8-inch, rough. He'll figure his way out of there. So he was number 1 for me. Working down the model, it actually really kind of got somewhat boring. I went to Reed next. At 9,000, he just made too much sense not to use. So he was 5th in the model. His form's pretty good. I mean, 5 top 30s the last 7 starts. In the last 20 majors, he's got 12 top 20s or better, and he's got 4 top 15s or better in 7 U.S. Opens. So I think this is one of the ones he likes. Kind of plays into Drew's point. He won the Farmers. He's got 5 top 40s in 6 starts here on the course. So I think he likes Torrey Pines. The way the model was cooked together, using the West Coast POA as kind of a baseline, he modeled out as the number 1 putter in the whole entire field for me. So that was a bonus find. He was 11 as far as the primary comps, and he was 27 as far as the one-offs. last 33 rounds is what it turned out to be since the concession for him. He was 12th around the green, 17th with the putter, 27th in approach, and I'll take the 58 off the tee. Just made a whole lot of sense. So he was number 2 for me. I'm not normally one to play, but when I play, he seems to do okay. So Victor Hovland made too much sense, as again to Drew's point, and everybody else's point to not play. 7th in the model, 9,200 was a good price point. I mean, he got second in to Reed in January. The 2 times he's played in the U.S. Open, he's got 12th and 13th. So again, I think he likes the course setups. The 6 majors he's played in, they've all been 32nd or better. He's got 5 top 30s last 7 starts. And his last round since the concession, 12th off the tee, 17th approach, and 36th with the putter. I have some concerns as always about the around the green stuff, but again, it's been trending well, and I think he'll do enough to show up reasonably well. I'll be honest, I've been the Morikawa fader, and I really, really wanted to do it again, just because I think it was Andy that made an interesting pace or point on Twitter as far as the regression points with the putting, and I think he pointed out something to the effect that every time Morikawa's actually had a pretty good putting week, he's followed it up with a really bad one, and that was a strong point in his favor. But I managed to join the boys. I faded JT as well. So, and I really ended up with JT mainly for the major sort of big tourney kind of aspect of it. So you look at his last 20 majors, 12 of them have been 20th or worse. 4 of the 6, U.S. Opens have been top or 25th or worse. He's only played Torrey twice, but he got a 10th and a miscut. And then, he's got 5 top 25s or worse in his last 7 starts. And then you look at his form since. I know he's had some streaky kind of putting that's been better, but as a whole, compared to the rest of the field, since the concession, he ranks 102nd in the field. So again, it's going to come down to the putter for me. And I just don't see him as a not to say he can't play on the West Coast, but for me, he's not one of those guys that I just scream, oh my God, I'm going to play him on the West Coast. So JT's my fade. I'm going to play Hovland. I'm going to play Reed, and I'm going to play Xander.
I like it. So we got 3 Justin Thomas fades with a Cantley in there. We do have another, our second consensus, and that is going to be Victor Hovland. So we came close to a Reed consensus, but it was 1 shy. So we'll discuss that. All right, let's just jump to 8K. Let's go, Justin.
All right, 8Ks. My first guy is Will Zalatoris.
You're not allowed to pick him.
I couldn't get away from him this week.
Times is changing.
He's got plenty of distance. I think he's going to play good enough, and he's played really well in the majors. I think he, he's right in the middle of the price range.
He's a ball striker. He's going to be on the fairway.
Yeah, I like him. Maybe not to win the tournament, but I definitely like him in some top 10s, top 20s. For sure in this tournament. I think he's going to be right there. And in DraftKings, I love him. So I'll play him. I'm going to play Tony Finau at 89. You just if he can just get the putter going, he's gonna do it. And I'm going to stay on this ship as long as I can, and I'm going to be there when he wins one. Yeah, it's going to be a long ride. It seems like.
It feels that way. It feels like we say the same thing every week.
It's going to be 5 more days, my friend.
Yeah. So my third play was a guy who I was actually surprised he was as cheap as he was at 80.
Do it.
Corey Connors.
No, not what I thought you were going to do.
I don't know. Who are you thinking?
Oh man, I'll get there.
Okay. I'm gonna play Corey Connors. I think he's been extremely good all season. Similar. He's got plenty of distance. The rough is the variable, but I think all the guys, he's going to be playing shorter irons, which is good enough for me. My fade, I'm a fade Hideki. I don't think we're getting 100% Hideki right now. I think he's played okay since coming back, but I just don't think
What a world.
him this week at all.
You're
I'll
fading
take it.
Hideki. He's not playing Brooks. I'm not playing Spieth. What in the hell is going on around here,
Up
boys?
is down.
U.S. Open, man.
I mean, jeez.
I think we're all shook for the last few weeks.
I mean, it might be.
We're playing
So,
opposite day.
So yeah, so I have Connors, Finau, Zalatoris, and I'm fading.
Wow.
Not the threesome I thought you'd come up with. I'm going to be honest.
No,
I could have dreamed that a couple of different ways, and that's not
I
even
whiffed on
my
all of
radar.
those thinking what you were going to pick. I figured you would have Finau in there, but wow.
Well,
That's
interested to hear who you thought for sure.
Well, let's go to Guru.
So I'm going to say that the first name that jumped out in the 8Ks for me was Webb Simpson. And to your point, I really thought you'd play Webb. The fact that Webb's 55
I
to
did
1,
too.
8,700, like I would have had that as an automatic fill in for you. But needless to say, it was an automatic fill in for me. He 10th in the model. I don't care that he doesn't play on the West Coast. Just the basis of his game, I think, actually fits the course pretty well. I know he doesn't travel because he doesn't like to fly, so he's pretty choosy. So he just doesn't do a whole lot of stuff out west. The base of his playing is back east. But I think if this was 1,000 miles closer to North Carolina, I think he played probably this course all day long. So since the concession, last 22 rounds, he's 40th off the tee, 23rd in approach, 8th around the green, and 34th with the putter. That's pretty elite stuff in this field for me. He's got 4 top 30s in his last 4 starts. He's only played Torrey twice. He's got 19th and a missed cut. Last 15 majors, he's got 15 top 40s or better. He's going to show up and play. Of that, he's got 5 top 20s in his last 10 U.S. Opens. And then this is the only golfer I actually looked at some cursory stuff because I knew it'd be pretty good. So year to date, number 1 in scrambling, year to date, number 5 in sand saves, and then number 4 in par 3 scoring average, number 5 in par 4 scoring average, and number 5 in par 5 scoring average. He's just going to show up. I don't think he's going to get himself in trouble. And if he does, he's going to get himself out of it. He's one of the few I trust to be able to bail out okay. Then looking at the comps, just because he hasn't played the course a whole lot, he was 27th as far as the primary comps work, and then he was 20th with the one-offs. I'm totally fine with that at 8,700. I mean, I'd like to think he'll finish in the top 10. That's where the model has, but even if he's in the top 20, I think it'll pay off. So Webb was a strong, number 1 8K play for me. Yeah, I have to play Tony Finau. And basically, last 15 majors for Tony Finau, he's got 9 top 10s. I mean, that's pretty elite stuff for me. Don't care where his game's at. He's going to show. He's got 3 top 15s in his the 5 U.S. Opens he's played. He's got 5 consecutive top 15s in the last 5 Farmers here at Torrey Pines. He's got 5 top 30s in his last 8 starts. I mean, I could beat it into the ground. I'll just say his last 30 rounds, though, he's 28th off the tee, 31st in approach, and 7th around the green. Only thing that worries me a little bit is the putter. He's either going to show up big or he's going to flame out. I'm going to bank on the show up big. And if he flames out, well, can't say I didn't warn you. But I'm going to play him. I'm going to play him pretty strong. So then the third wheel in the 8K range, I went back and forth with this. But the way the thread's been working for me, I'm kind of banking more on overall class and not really paying as much attention to form, because with the form, I really can't play. So I will tell you that my guy has 14 top 25s in his last 21 majors. He's got 5 top 25s in his last 10 U.S. Opens. He's got 3 top 10s in his last 6 starts at Torrey Pines, and he's got 4 top 20s in his last 5 starts. His name is Justin Rose. He is 8,023rd in the model. And his last 20 rounds, he's 52nd off the tee and 5th with the putter. And he's on record as saying it's just one of those courses he likes. I'm going to take a shot that he really likes the course, and he's going to show up and do it. A couple other guys I left off. The 9K is strong, but I think the 8K is where you make your money, because I think you're going to need probably a fairly balanced lineup this week. And there's some guys in the 6Ks that are fine, but if you play Rom, fine. If you play one of the guys up top, I think you believe in them. But I think there's pretty good value in finding like a heavy balance between your 9K and 8K guys that you like. And Rose is just one guy that stood out just because I'm not really sure how it's all going to go. But if you can afford to have a high enough, group of guys in your player pool to make it work, and at 8K, you can go a lot of places with them. So Rose was the play there. My initial fade, I'm not going to lie, was Corey Connors. But after a while, I crossed him off. And so then, because I was playing Rose at 8,000, then I decided to fade the other 8,000 guy. I'm going to fade Cam Smith. I don't think Torrey is a really good place for Cam Smith. 6 of the 7 starts at Torrey have been 20th or worse, and of those 6 of the 7 that were 20th or worse, he's got 3 missed cuts. Last 2 starts, he's got a 59th and a missed cut. You look at his last 15 majors, 9 of them have been top 50 or worse. U.S. Opens, 4 of 5 have been 38th or worse. And then you look at his last 26 rounds, he's 80th off the tee and his 51st in approach. I know his short game's pretty good, but I will take my chances with, which leads into a prop bet for later. I know he's leading the field in terms of top Australian, but I'll take my chances with Adam Scott or Mark Leishman. So yeah, Cam Smith's a fade for me. So my 8K guys are going to be Tony Finau, Webb Simpson, Justin Rose, and I'm going to fade Cam Smith.
Guys, I like Cam Smith.
Part of the reason I did it, man. Not gonna lie, it was in there. I just knew I could get you.
Wow,
shots fired.
I just don't like you, so that's why I did it. Jeez. Anyway, but I'm not playing him anyway. I'll go and I'll let Pro finish up. I am going to be the first to pick Daniel Berger, and I really like Berger. I think he should be higher than $8,400. He's top 15 in our model, and I think this course does fit him pretty damn good. And he's top 10 in my model. I mean, he's a guy that's top 10 in scrambling in this field. He's top 14 in proximity. He's top 14 in putting. He's top 21 in par fives. He doesn't suck at any of them. His worst category in this field, based on 36 rounds, is approach, but he's still in the top half of the field at 62. And so I really like Daniel Berger, 84. I think he's actually been coming in recent form. He should be around 9K. And so he's an automatic play for me. I agree with Guru. I like Webb Simpson at 8.7. I think he's a 9K style player. And I was a little surprised also that he was not locked and loaded with Justin. And so to get him at that price point, I mean, he's a really good player. And, sand saves, he's right there 6th. He's 20th in scrambling. He's 6th in putting. He's in the top 40s in 5 other categories that are all considered, must-haves for this course. And he's sub 9. Yeah, I'm going to take Webb. And then my third guy is none other than Will Zalatoris. I was going to go there. 8.6. He's so young, but I don't think he even realizes how good he is. He's top 18 in par fives. He's top 20 in proximity at 200. His irons are unbelievable. 38th in approach, 20th in 200-yard. The only thing that bugs me is he's not great in scrambling. He's kind of like Hovland a little bit, and so. But when he gets it going, and if he hits greens, he doesn't have to scramble as much. And I think he can hit greens. But he's 114th there, and so I don't love that, and I don't love the fact that he's 97th around the green. But the good news is he's been finishing really strong for reasons. That's because he hits fairways, he hits greens. He's a pure striker of the golf ball, and that's what I'm hoping that he's able to accomplish this week. And that brings me to my fade, Justin Rose, just because. You guys know, you know.
I know.
You know it was coming.
Yeah,
I did.
And so I actually had a Boulder fade, and I took him out because he's just one of those guys that can actually win the damn thing, and that's Louis Oosthuizen. And so I changed him out with Rose. I had to fade some Euro, and so he's tradition. The one. Yeah, I can't break tradition all the way. And so that's where I'm at, bro. You want to finish this out for 8K?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not playing Justin Rose, but I'm definitely betting an outright Justin Rose ticket for the record. But I'm going to go Louis Oosthuizen. I mean, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. He has 9 top 10s in majors. We know what happened at the PGA, another contending week. He's a plus putter on POA. I'm going to take Louis. I'm also going to take Tony Finau where he be now. I'm not going to beat a dead horse past 6 farmers. 2nd, 6th, 13th, 6th, 4th, 18th. I know he hasn't won. I know, I get it. There's no way in hell based off of what Tony Finau has done at majors and what he's done at Torrey that I cannot bet Tony Finau. Tony Finau is in there. Tyrrell Hatton. He's somebody that I've actually had eyes on coming into this championship. Last week he led in strokes gained tee to green. It was just a bad putting week. He's actually never played this golf course. When we talk about guys that move the ball well enough and hit enough fairways and are very good iron players, Tyrrell Hatton definitely falls in that category, in my opinion. And I'm going to fade Corey Connors. Strokes gained statistics kind of been trending down. I mean, you see things that have been trending down. I'm sure Nick sees it more than I do. But when you put his statistics together, things seem to be heading more south than they are north. This is a really big boy tough golf course. I'm going to go ahead and fade Corey Connors. Simple, quick. Gotcha. That's where we're at.
Hey, Justin's ready to fight you after school.
No, y'all make great points on him. No, you make great points. And maybe I did,
No, man. The way we've been going, man. No. We're just,
hey, Justin would beat
it's
me up
open
like
game,
that.
bro.
That Phoenix Suns fan. I'd be like the Utah Jazz fan. Like I no fighting here, boys.
Suns in 4. That's what we told him.
Suns in 4.
Well, Justin, let's go ahead and get to your 7s then. Let's see if you can shock and awe us a little bit on those.
Well, man, I think the 7s, much of the 8s were ridiculously deep. I think the 7s also have really solid players in it. I'll start with 7,600 Jason Kokrak. He's won twice this year. Major improvements with the putter. I think he's got everything you need to win here. And in the mid 7Ks, that's good enough for me. So he's my first play. My second play is, and I'll sound like a broken record here, but Paul Casey. Hard to make an argument not to play him this week. To be quite honest, in the 7Ks.
7Ks is a big step down on price from what you used to see him at.
Yeah, he's been a top 10 machine all year, no matter what tour he's on. Easy course, hard course, whatever. So I'll Paul Casey, and then my third guy. Looking at the model, he's at 15. Been consistent all year. Give me some Chuck Hoffman.
Chucky.
I'm the guy. I think this one sets up great for him. He plays good on the West Coast. 72. Chuck Hoffman all day.
It's pretty much the only place outside of like Phoenix that Chuck Hoffman shows up to an extent. I mean, he's definitely like he cashes his paychecks early in the year as well.
Yeah, he's going to make the cut. He's going to be there. Similar to what your point was earlier. If you make the cut, you're going to be in contention.
Yep.
You got a 7,200 guy in contention, you're in business. My fade, who was married in Vegas over the weekend, Lee Westwood.
Oh,
Basically on his honeymoon.
Wait, Jesus Lord, Lee's just getting married now?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Lee's
Yeah.
Oh Lord, all right.
yeah, like today I thought.
I saw it a couple days ago, but yeah,
Okay.
they're honeymooning at the tournament. So I'll go ahead and fade Lee.
I did see something about that. I didn't. Whatever.
He's gonna win this son of a bitch.
Oh, fade his ass. Fade his ass. I'm with.
He was
I'm
doing
with you,
great when
Justin.
is she gonna be on the bag?
I don't know that.
Because that's when he was playing good. When he put his son on the bag, he started tanking.
Would you put your wife on the bag the week that you got married?
Not anymore. No.
You're asking for it right there.
If I'm ever going to put on a bag, it's going to be on the week we get married.
All right, let's
Stop
talking about wives and bags and things.
All right, bro. What do you got, man?
All right. I don't have much more to say about Jason Kokrak than what you hit it on. He's got 2 wins since October. 5th in strokes gained putting, which was kind of his nemesis for most of his career. He's 4th in total driving, which it determines distance and accuracy. Him in 7K, yeah, we're rolling. We're all in. We're knees deep in that. Here's where Dave will get uncomfortable. I'm going to take Tommy Fleetwood.
I'm not uncomfortable.
I see him uncomfortable. I mean, he has 2 top 5s in the U.S. Open. He's in the top 20 putting on POA and around the greens. Tommy Fleetwood has been somewhat kind of under the radar. However, if you look, he hasn't had a terrible year. It's just we went from last year where he was competing consistently on Sundays to where he's kind of been doing the old backdoor top 20, right? Which is fine for your bank account. Your wife loves all that. And I respect that. I do like Tommy Fleetwood here. And then I'm going back to the wagon boys. Garrick Higo, right? I mean, he's on a heater. He's on a heater.
Yeah.
And I will not listen, I liked him last week. If we want to talk about last 6 worldwide starts, first, 64th, first, 8th, first, 4th. The dude is on a heater. I'm not going to not play him at this point. So he'll be my third, and my fade is going to be and then all I have in my notes is listen. Phil Mickelson, and I just wrote listen. I love Phil Mickelson. However, this golf course is penal when you miss the fairways. I know that the lefty was fantastic when we talk about the PGA at Kiawah, but when we look at the difference in golf courses, the PGA at Kiawah left you wide open.
Yeah, the fairways are like half the size.
When you miss the fairways, you're in sandy areas. You're not in rough that's sometimes hard to advance the ball at all. As much as I love Phil, I just can't go with him this week. So I'm going to play my guy Kokrak, Tommy Fleet piece. Some say fairway Jesus. I will also go with Garrick Higo, which has become my guy at this point. I'm just rolling with him. We need a good lefty. Right? Can everybody agree that we need another transparent, transcendent rather left-handed player?
I mean, we need Brian Harmon.
I don't think Brian Harmon's that guy. I mean, he's just the only other really guy that you think of that plays left-handed.
I'm betting Harmon this week.
Yeah, those are my picks anyway.
I love it. I'm going to go with 7Ks, and we're going to let Guru finish it up before we hit our value plays and get to the optimal lineup. I am going with Chucky Hoffman also. He's especially at the bottom of the 7 range, 7.2. Obviously, the model loves him. And when the model loves him, I love him. And so, he's, 15, top 15 in the model. He does everything good, nothing great in this field. The only thing that worries me is his scrambling. He's like 1/12th in scrambling and 105th around the greens in this field, at least based on the weight that I gave him. And so that does concern me, but he is top 30 in approach and he's top 32 driving distance. And so he's got a lot of the things that I do like in this field for my key stats. I'm also going to go with Kokrak. So that's going to give us 3 of the 4 so far with Kokrak, and Kokrak finished really well in the model also, and I love the fact that he's top 10 in driving distance. He's also top 40 in approach, and he's top 30 in sand saves, top 30 in proximity 200. He's won twice, to your guys' point. His putting, he gets hot. He's a little streaky. So if he can at least drop a few surprise putts in, I think he'll be okay. And then my third guy, and this was the shocker of all shockers, guys. And I don't know how it happened, or I just don't know. But I got Adam Scott, and I got Adam Scott because he's 14th in this field in my weight system in approach. He's number 1 around the greens. He's top 20 in par 5s. He's 13th in putting, 23rd in driving distance, 36th in proximity, 13th in scrambling, and his worst category is sand saves at 83rd. He finished number 1 in my model. I don't know how. I don't know if something's wrong. And he's also, in a course Guru's model, he's in the top 35. And he's only $7,400, and so I'm liking Adam Scott at that price point in the 7K range, and I'm fading Bubba Watson. Bubba is 107th in approach, 99th around the greens, 96th in putting, 115th in proximity, 78th in scrambling. He's out. He's not going to make the cut. And so Bubba Watson is my fade. And that brings us to Guru. Did I shock you with the Adam Scott pick?
Little bit. Not gonna lie. Yeah.
I figured I would.
Not the most shocking thing that you could have thrown out there out of all the picks tonight, but yeah, it probably ranks in the top 10. I'll probably have a couple nightmares for a couple tourneys. We'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna go with Charlie Hoffman too. So there's 3 guys in the field over the last 36 rounds that have gained at least a stroke with an approach. JT Morikawa and Chuck Hoffman. There's alluded to the 5 guys in the model that are top 20% of the major categories I use. So, you've got Rahm, you've got Xander, you've got Rory, you've got Finau, and the magic 5th is Chuck Hoffman. So last 36 rounds, he's 33rd off the tee, 2nd in approach, and 40th with the putter. Last 16 majors, he's made the cut in 14 of them, and of those 14, 10 of them were top 40 or better. He's got 6 top 50s or better in 7 U.S. Open starts, and then he's played the hell out of Torrey Pines. So he's played here 19 times. He's got 12 made cuts, and 8 of the 12 have been top 50 or better. So again, to Boss Man's point here, he does a few things pretty well, but most of the stuff is just, above average or better. But compared to the rest of the field, it stands out pretty good. So for 7,200, I think he'll show up, and I think he'll show up pretty well. My never-ending man crush on Paul Casey continues. So I guess I'm going to keep betting the bastard until he finally just does what I need him to do. So for 7,900 and 11th in the model, I'm going to keep going. The last 28 rounds with the strokes gained for him, 36 off the tee, 3rd in approach, and 26th around the green. Just need him to make some putts. But he's got 5 top 30s last 6 starts. He's got 2 top 30s in the last 4 at Torrey. He's got 13 top 30s in the last 20 majors. So again, he's more of another big game hunter types. One of them he's got to show up and win. He's just got to. I don't care if he's 40 some odd years old. He's still got. Phil can win at 50. Paul Casey can win at 40, 42, whatever. He's got 5 top 40s in his last 6 U.S. Open. So I think this is one of those. I'd play him here and I'd play him at the Masters, and I think Kiowa fit him pretty well too. So Casey, Hoffman. I really, really was going to play Jason Kokrak. I really, really was. But
you didn't do it.
I didn't do it. I talked myself out at the last minute just because I thought he'd get some coverage. But I like the Victor Hovland. I like the Terrell Hatton pairing. So I'm going to take the 3rd man of the group, and I'm going to continue my man crush on Matt Fitzpatrick. So at 29th in the model at 7,800, I'm going to play him because when I think of the course, even though he's never played here, if the rough's going to be bad, it's going to be a tough course. If the winning score is going to be, I don't know, I marked it down at about 8 under par. I think that fits him better than a lot of the other courses. And I think he can show up, pretty well. He's got 4 top 50s in the last 6 U.S. Opens. He's got 7 top 50s in the last 10 majors. As far as the comps go, just because he's never played the course, I had him 16th as far as the primary comps I used. That's a pretty good, mark for somebody at 7,800. He's got 5 top 35s last 7 starts, and then you look at his last 36 rounds. He's 3rd off the tee, 31st around the green, and 6th with the putter. I just need his approach game to show up a little bit, but the way he's been kind of trending, it seems to be kind of heading in a better direction. So I'll take a stab. So I'm going to play Fitzpatrick. I'm going to play Casey, and I am going to play Casey. I'm sorry. Yeah. Casey, Hoffman, and Fitzpatrick. Then looking for a fade, I wanted to get another name factor in there. So I'm actually going to borrow a page from Justin's book here, and I'm going to fade Sergio. So he hasn't played Torrey since 2006. Don't like that. He got the top 20 in the last start, but he had 4 missed cuts before that. The last 15 majors, he's got 11 missed cuts. Not a good trending record for big time events. He's 9 of 19 U.S. Opens. He's finished 35th or worse. So I don't think this is one major that generally fits him well. And then you look at his strokes gained since the concession. He's 80th around the green and 108th with the putter. It just seemed like a pretty easy fade for me, and I'll watch him win the damn thing again. But yeah, so Sergio is my fade.
This is one where I wish I could have faded 2 guys.
Yeah, I bet. Well, let's go to 6K values. Who wants to start?
Come on, Justin.
Oh no,
I'll go ahead. I had a few euros that I had in for my 6K values. I kind of like Bird Wiesberger. He's at 68. He's just been hanging around at all these events. He always seems to make the cut. He's always in, he's not going to win, but I think he's going to make the cut. And I think, for 68, he'll get you there. Now, I like Jordan Smith also from 6,600. Played some good golf lately. Doesn't play over here that often, but is a guy that I like that I'll have some of my lineups. Third guy hits it a mile, Thomas Dietrich. Also at 6,600.
I like him.
I'll play some of these 6K guys sparingly. I'm not going to have a lot.
I'm not either.
The 8Ks and 7Ks are so loaded that I'm going to have those guys, and then I'm going to cherry pick from the top tier. But I will have some of those three in my lineups.
Yeah, when you look at guys like Kokrak, Fleetwood, Higo, Hoffman, and Scott all in the 7K range, yeah, there's not too many reasons to have to dip down there.
You can make it work
for true stars and scrubs. But we got to get the folks the 6Ks we really like. So, Pro, what do you got in 6?
I like Johnny Vegas. He tied for second last week. He's had 2 top 10s his last 3 starts. He hits the ball. I mean, if we're talking about a guy that moves it, Johnny Vegas fits that persona. He's been playing good golf. I love him in the 6K range. I'm also going to go with Lanto Griffin. And Lanto had a T7 here earlier in the year.
Yep.
I like him as a play. And I'm going to go with my guy Wilco, who just hits the ball a mile. And the reason I'm going to go with him is because in the 6K range, he had a T14 at Congaree. The guy has some form. He's somebody that's also like traveled the sea like Garrick Higo to start playing some of these PGA Tour events. And guys that don't watch European Tour golf at all don't realize this guy is kind of Bryson Long. And so I think these guys are going to start making splashes. Of course, Garrick Higo's already done that. But I think in the 6K value range, I will take him and we'll roll the dice and we'll see what happens.
Like that. There's some good ones. I like those.
I like him too. I'm going to go ahead and jump in here. I know Guru's probably got a bunch of good value plays. I'm starting off with Lanto Griffin also. I really like him at 6.8. I think our model really likes him too. And Lanto Griffin for me, wow, 16th in putting in this field. Not bad for a 6K player. 15th in scrambling. I like that. 26th in approach. I like that. 46th in par 5 scoring. I like that. So he's got some really good numbers here, even top 50 in sand saves. So for a guy at $6,800, yeah, I'll take Lanto Griffin. And then I also really like, and he finished pretty high in my model, $6,700, Wyndham Clark. Yeah, he doesn't have the greatest approach, but Wyndham Clark is 16th in this field around the greens. He's number 2 in scrambling. The guy can get it done around the greens. He's also 7th in this field in driving distance. So you pair that up with 10th in putting, in 9th in par 5 scoring, you got yourselves a hell of a player at $6,700. And so I really like him. I think he fits this course perfectly. And so I'm big on Wyndham Clark. And then also Adam Hadwin, which I know our model also likes for the 6K range. And Adam Hadwin, let's see here. 28th in approach, 19th around the greens, 15th in putting, 17th in sand saves, 19th in proximity, and 6th in scrambling. All strong numbers for a 6,700 player. And so I like him. As a matter of fact, Hadwin and Wyndham Clark are my 2 super sleepers for this week at 6K range. So if you do want to dip in there, that's where I'm going to be dipping to.
Okie dokie. Well, I put a lot of faith in the model this week, so I didn't really dip too far from the order that it had because I when I started looking at the 6K guys, I really felt like they were all pretty strong, but I'll walk through them pretty quick. So Lanto was 39th in the model, and there was a pretty good gap between him and the next couple of 6K guys. So I liked Lanto. So I think the pairing with Ortiz and Zach Johnson is actually pretty good. They all have similar, somewhat similar skill sets, and I think they'll all push each other, fairly well, and probably all come up with, decent scores. Pro alluded to the 7th at Torrey, and he's got the one good showing in the U.S. Open. He's got the other miscut, so it's kind of a mixed bag there. But you look at his last 32 rounds, so he's 29th off the tee, 53rd in approach, 57th around the green, and 65 with the putter. I think it's a pretty good combination for a 6,800 guy. The next guy I marked down, I actually like Adam Hadwin a lot too. So he's got 9 of 14 cuts made in majors. He's got 3 of 5 cuts made in U.S. Open. He's got 5 of 6 cuts made at Torrey, and he got 18th in January. You look at his last 30 plus rounds, he's 44th around the green and 30th with the putter. So it's a pretty good combination, and he's got some decent success, West Coast wise. So I would take a stab with him for 67 if you have to use him. Pro mentioned Johnny Vegas earlier. I think he's kind of a popular pick, and the way he's been priced over the last handful of tourneys, I think 68 is a pretty crazy number for him. He's got 7 of 11 made cuts at Torrey, and of the 7, 5 of them have been top 30 or better. So I think he could get his way around the course, pretty well. He's got 3 top 20s in his last 8 starts, and what I marked down for him as far as the strokes gained, he's 7th off the tee and 59th in approach since the concession. The other 2 I've got kind of a name factor, but again, I kind of liked where they were in the model. I'll take Sebastian Munoz. He was 63rd at 6,900, but the crazy part, you could get him at 400 to 1. So to find some deeper top 40 odds or something crazy on him might not be a terrible stab. He's got 5 cuts made in his last 8 starts. He's got 2 of 3 cuts made at Torrey. He's got 3 of his last 4 cuts in majors made. As far as the comps go, I marked him down as 22nd as far as the primary. So I think if he's got any kind of game out here, then I think it should show up pretty well. You look at his rounds since the concession, he's 43rd off the tee, 63rd in approach, and 23rd with the putter. A little shaky with the around the green, but, for diving down there, they're not all going to be winners, or else they'd be priced higher and with better odds. A little further down the board, the only other one I've got, I'm going to ride Troy Merritt. At 6,500, I thought it was a pretty good price. 200 to 1, I think, was bad. You play him for the form because he's got the 6 top 50s in his last 9 starts, and you look a little more recent, he's got a handful of top 10s. Last 32 rounds for him since the concession. He's 28th around the green, 15th with the putter, and still a fairly respectable 73rd, approach compared to the rest of the field. So, if he shows up, like he has been, I certainly think he can make the cut and probably pay off the 65. So those are the 5 guys I liked, but I don't think I'll be dripping down, too often. I think I could build some pretty good balanced lineups between, the 9s, 8s, and 7s.
Cool. Yeah, I like, I really like Munoz as well, especially at 400 to 1 number, man. That's pretty, I'm gonna have to go take a look. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of pulling it up right now on my app.
Chance Sebastian Munoz wins this golf tournament. So if you want to throw your money at that 400 to 1, that is basically just burning it in your kitchen sink.
I'm not, but I might look at him in a top 40 market.
There you go.
When the model likes him that much, and you can see what his top 40 market is. It's worth a look. It's worth a look. See, it's worth a look. See.
Oh, for sure.
I'm looking down here right now. Yep. Yeah, I got him at 350. Top 30, 600, and top 40, 200, 2,000 plus 2,000. Yeah. So anyway, Wyndham Clark is 400. Maybe I need to put a couple grand on that one. just
bet the house on it.
Oh man, that would be funny as hell. Actually, it would suck. Let's go straight to the optimal lineup. This is my favorite. I mean, I love this optimal lineup so much, and I actually put the actual prices in there for you this week.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I wasn't, building it. I kind of had an idea that it would come up with something balanced, but I really wasn't sure which way it would shake out until I plugged everything in and tried to come up with something. But, Rom was a pretty consensus number one, but with that extreme price point, it was really hard to kind of work them in without, taking some flyers on some guys download that the model didn't really like. So Xander was a pretty strong, second in the model. So he was the top guy the Optimal found. So he's second in the model. He was 9,300. And with him, just the way the model shook out, you could get the fifth guy in the model, which was Patrick Reed at 9,000. You could get the sixth guy in the model, which was Tony Finau at 8,900. You could get my, man crush and Paul Casey 11th in the model at 7,900. You could round it out with Chuck Hoffman at 15th in the model at 7,200. And then with the money left, the highest points guy left that everybody else liked, including me, I just decided to veer, was Jason Kokrak at 16th in the model at 7,600. So that gets you, that uses 49,900, which is a pretty good total. And historically, most of the majors do tend to use most of the money. Aggregate ownership should be up there a little bit, but it's a tourney they want you to build balanced lineups with names just to get you to play. And, kind of had a rough guesstimate of 546 points. I think it's a pretty good number compared to some of the kind of put you in the middle of the last handful of majors. So I think it's a pretty good number. And obviously if the tourney plays harder, it'll probably be over, but if it doesn't play as hard, it'll probably be under. So split the difference. So I feel pretty good about it. But again,
the fact that we got 6 of the 16 top players in the model is pretty damn strong, including, number 2, number 3, and number 5. Number 2, number 5, number 6. I mean, gosh, half of the top 6. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. Yep.
And you could still rotate a handful of other guys that we like in the top 16 too, if it doesn't quite suit your fancy. So you've got a whole lot of options, just not playing any of the big guns. And I think that makes a lot of sense because, all the odds for the most of them are pretty bunched up. So, I think the last 10 open winners, I think the average turns out to be about 40-1. And then if you take out Spieth's 9-1 or 10-1, I think from a handful of years back, I think it's still kind of even pushes a little higher. So, leaning towards some of the guys in that 15 to 35, 40 range don't seem like a terrible idea. So yeah, I feel pretty good about it. A lot more so than I have in the last couple of weeks. So we'll see how it goes.
That's awesome. So any big outrights you guys want to talk about?
I've got them on some of the guys that we covered. I've got Casey. I've got Kokrak. I've got one on Shane Lowry. Guy's been playing pretty good recently too. I've got Hoffman, top American, and I've got Casey to be the top Euro. So far,
you've been dipping. I like it.
Yeah. Trying to get back. Rough week last week. Trying to get back this week.
Baby steps. You'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll hit mine real quick. I like Bryson 14-1, Koepka 18-1, Reed 22-1, Morikawa 25-1, Kokrak 50-1. Like I mentioned earlier, I think that the winner comes out of the range that you're not going to catch that flyer from. So I think anything 30-1 below is probably where you see your winner. But I do like Kokrak 50-1.
Do you guys notice that Sungjae M, Sebastian M, was 100-1?
He's been shit.
I know.
lately.
Nobody's mentioned his name. He came back and made the cut last week.
It was hard not to take a flyer, at the 100 plus, just because you're not used to seeing him down there. Yeah, you look for names and you just kind of see, wow, it's crazy. So I'll run through my stuff real quick. So I got Reed at 25. I got Hovland at 28. So I got Casey at 45. I took Zalatoris at 46.5. I took Webb at 55, and then I took Chucky Hoffman at 90. So those are the outrights. I dipped into the nationality market a little bit like Justin. So I took Hadwin for Canadian at 3.5. I took Eduardo Molinari at 2.5 for a top Italian. I took Leishman at 3-1 for top Australian. I took Casey for top Englishman at 4.5. And then I took the top winning margin. I took it 2 strokes for 3.5.
I love that.
I like the 2 as well.
And a reminder that we're going to be posting a lot of this on Twitter tomorrow, including our consensus outrights. And it seems like we're putting a lot more fun stuff out there, including parlay, first round leaders, top 40, top 20 markets. There's a lot more than just outright betting. As a matter of fact, most of your big time gamblers, they're making their money on top 20, top 40, and in those type of markets. I will say that I did take one play a couple of weeks ago, I jumped ahead, and I don't know why, but it just struck me as too good of a number. I took Matt Wallace at 150, and so I grabbed him a couple of weeks ago. I'm also in on Webb. I'm in on Morikawa. I talked about him last week. Very surprised on it. That I didn't play him. I didn't put him as one of my plays or fades because I had other players for that, but I was going to bring him up for this reason. Will Zalatoris, Kokrak, and I got me some Hovland, and I got me some Brian Harmon. And so I like Brian Harmon, and especially at 90-1. And I went ahead and grabbed a few of the guys at the top, like Rory and Justin and Dustin. So, yeah, I've got, I'll put a whole big story out there of everything I'm doing. Those aren't all outrights. I got top 20s, top 40s, and all that kind of stuff.
Did you look at the straight forecast yet? There's some juicy numbers there too.
I have not yet. I'm holding off till tomorrow for straight forecast.
You should, because
I got to go find some money and put in my account. Been rough.
It may be rougher when you see those. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my God! I'll end up putting $1 on all of them.
Maybe.
Well, hey guys, we really love this U.S. Open, and it's an amazing tournament. I can't wait to watch it. I'm going to have time to watch some of this, which is exciting. I look forward to it, guys. Please like, subscribe, pick your winner. This is a major. Pick the winner on the YouTube channel. Leave it in the comments who's going to win, and if that player wins, you win an autographed photograph of that player. Let's get that thing rolling, and be sure to let us know what you like, what you dislike, and we just appreciate you. We appreciate the feedback, and be looking out for Twitter tomorrow. We're going to have the profile of a contender, U.S. Open version. We're going to have the model with all the data. I don't know many people that actually put the entire model out like we do. As a matter of fact, I don't know anybody that does it to the point we do. So take advantage of that. It's really, really good stuff. And we'll be putting all of our bets, outrights, and all that fun stuff out there too. So any final thoughts, guys?
Nope. Looking forward to a big week. Can't wait, guys.
Let's get it.
Let's get it. All right, guys. Peace out. We'll see you soon.
Did you get all that? If not, make sure you head over to hammercast.com, subscribe, and join the